it was that feeling of, just something wasn't right. And I think as women, we oftentimes kind of dismiss what we have because we can just push through things and we got to take care of everybody else. But in that moment, I was just relaxing and out to dinner. So I kind of tapped into my intuition and it was like impending doom. Something isn't right. And then the crushing feeling across my chest, which was definitely more than any kind of GI situation that I've had in the past. And I knew something wasn't right. And the pounding voice was, I'm telling you, I think it was the Holy Spirit said, get to the urgent care right now. Go.
Wow.
And it was like, and then it was just an out of body experience for the next 4 hours completely. So women, listen to your bodies.
Yes. I know I interviewed someone, she was 33. She had just had a baby and she would have died. When she got to the hospital, they were like, no, go. They were trying to send her home. And there was one woman who said, she's having a heart attack. And that woman saved her life because everyone else was
Absolutely.
like, no, you're fine. Yeah.
Well, because we always don't want to run to the emergency room every time we have a small ache and pain. But if something isn't going away and getting worse, don't try to muscle through, especially with anything cardiac related. That's
So
what I
it was definitely like the pressure, like
Yes,
pressure.
it was pressure. It was just like a crushing pressure and a pain that was radiating outward and up my neck. And I
Wow.
knew that it wasn't, being a physical therapist, at first I thought it was my like upper back. I'm like, oh, I'm slouching too much. Or it might be my neck. I had a herniated disc in my neck. I thought it was that. But then it just like started from here getting worse and worse up, and then down the arms. And I knew, oh my God, something isn't right.
Yeah. Now you said it was a SCAD,
Yes.
SCAD heart attack.
Yeah.
And that, I'm just quoting you, that you gave it to yourself.
I know that's a tough pill to swallow because in doing the research after I had this heart attack, which was it stands for a spontaneous coronary artery dissection. So it's not a typical heart attack where you have issues in the heart muscle or you have underlying disease in the coronary arteries. It was the artery just literally collapsed on itself and like fractured open. And after I'd gone to like my regular cardiologist here in the Rochester area, then I went to the Mayo Clinic, and then I went out to a holistic cardiologist out in Arizona and had so many blood tests run and was tested for FMD, which is another underlying connective tissue situation. But I was negative for everything.
So this was afterwards to try to
Yep.
find out
Trying to
why.
figure out why did this happen because I don't have high cholesterol. I don't have high blood
Right.
pressure. There's not heart disease in my family. So going through all of that, I had then met with a spiritual counselor who here in Rochester, and we talked about how anger and stress and anxiety really do affect the actual arteries and our heart chakra our heart center. And it was 2020 after the election. COVID was here. I wasn't in work. And so there was a lot of stress and anxiety just in the world and in my personal life. And all of that angst and anger right in here, it was just, I could not get out of my own way, perseverating on thoughts about what's happening and just being super stressed. So it all came down to stress and anxiety. And it was just an emotional, spiritual attack on myself, really.
Wow. Now, I had a friend, I don't know if it's the same one. She sneezed. She said it was like a rip. So is that the
It could be
same
the very
thing?
same thing. Yes.
Yeah. So she had no heart problems, but had the heart attack.
Yeah.
And her doctors didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
Like
I'm
they had
lucky
never heard of that.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to be in an area where there's, a fantastic medical school right here, 20 miles away, the U of R in Rochester, and, great cardiology program. And so I was lucky to be right there.
Wow.
So, yeah. I feel like it didn't really happen to me because I'm just talking about it like I'm talking about someone else.
Yeah.
I'm like detached.
Well, how many years ago was it?
That was 4 years ago.
Right, because you said
Yeah.
it was 2020. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And then there was another time in your life where I think you did something physical. What
There's so
was it
many
again?
things. Oh, I had torn my rotator cuff from work in a work related injury. Yes.
Right.
So it was torn bicep tendon and rotator cuff tear. It was really significant. And so I had to have that repaired. And I was out of work for 4 months. And during that same time, while trying to muscle through that, because I do not like to take medication. So I was, put myself in that position of trying to figure out how to get through. And then my father suddenly got ill and passed away during that time frame. And so I don't know if anyone who's dealing with grief and losing anyone that they love. Grief is hard enough, but grief with the loss of function of a body part and chronic pain all together just makes, just like a toxic madness was going on inside of me. Like I couldn't handle it. It was so much that was going on.